So, Agatha All Along has given us, in my opinion, the best Disney Plus episode so far, which is episode 7, Death's Hand in Mine. This episode reminded me, in some way, of the first episode of Loki Season 2, where Loki keeps moving back and forth through time, only to be pruned by someone in the end. This episode was somewhat similar. The title of the episode is Death's Hand in Mine, which is a line from the Ballad of Witches. When I first read the title, I thought we might get to see Rio's story, but it was actually Lilia's, who was either running away from fate or wasn't, because her life's end flashed before her as a child, leaving her with no choice but to embrace it. And that's what she did at the episode's end. I love this episode, especially for its non-linear storytelling, where things were shown to us as Lilia was feeling them. And as Lilia explains in the episode, she has lived her life in fragmented parts since childhood, which created many gaps that, as they were filled, satisfied the viewers. It's the same feeling we get watching Christopher Nolan's films, where the story is presented non-linearly, with the ending shown first, which we only understand after seeing the whole movie. This happened in episode 7 of Agatha All Along, where the episode begins with a glimpse of the last scene, Lilia falling. The meaning of this is only revealed at the end of the episode. But what's even better is that the episode lets us delve into Lilia's story, her fear of death, and, finally, the truth behind her intermittent dialogues. Divine, which Lilia Calder's power is the ability to see glimpses of the future, but as a child, she felt she couldn't control her power. She was neither fully living in the moment nor grounded in the present because she was constantly phasing out, seeing the future. This is why she only fully understood the truth of her powers towards the end of her life when her teacher told her she shouldn't try to control her premonitions, but simply observe them. Poor thing probably saw her own death as a child. We even get a hint of her death in episode 3 during the Potion Witch trial. Speaking of the trial, this one involved knowing about the tarot card table and placing cards properly on it to reveal everything about the person across, without letting any cards fall. Once all the cards were correctly placed, the trial was complete. Since this was Lilia's trial, the table even read your path wins out of time, but I couldn't quite grasp the theme here. The trial took place in a castle, and the witch's appearance was like witches in Disney movies. There was one who looked like Maleficent, and I'd say her cheekbones fit perfectly in this look. Agatha resembled the Wicked Witch from The Wizard of Oz. Lilia was like Glinda, the Good Witch from The Wizard of Oz, and Jennifer was the evil queen from Snow White. Each which likely symbolized something different, though my knowledge of Disney princesses isn't that sharp. However, I do know that in The Wizard of Oz, Glinda sends Dorothy ahead to meet the wizard, much like how Lilia sends everyone ahead here. Jennifer worked with potions, so making her the evil queen from Snow White was perfect. Now, coming to Billy. In the last episode, we learned about Billy Kaplan's story of how he died in a car accident and Billy's soul inhabited his body. Lilia was the witch who cast a spell on William, and in this episode, she explains why. Because she knew what was coming and wanted Billy to have time to understand what was happening to him. That's why she cast the spell on him. When Agatha asks Billy about his mother, he says that the Scarlet Witch is not his mother. This is a clever way of showing that Billy still considers Rebecca Kaplan as his mother, even though he still feels connected to Wanda. That's why he asks if she's dead, to which Agatha says, maybe, while showing him her body. Technically true, but not a straightforward answer. Agatha herself even mentions that if he wanted a straightforward answer, he should ask a straight lady. This show has a lot of queer undertones. Even Billy's querent line was very funny. In tarot readings, the querent is the person the reading is for, and through it Billy got many answers. His first question was whether he was Billy or William. The answer was somewhat vague, but it was clear that he is Billy because William is dead. Lilia also calls him Billy when experiencing the future. His first card identified him as the magician, someone who can make their goals reality, something that sounded a lot like the Scarlet Witch's powers. The second card was the sun, representing Billy's good fortune, joy, and reunion, possibly indicating that he will meet his brother Tommy. However, the following cards were not for Billy, as Lilia realized that she was the traveler, the querent, my favorite part of the episode. And at the end, when she reversed her card to face the Salem 7, she realized she had to sacrifice herself for her coven. Patty LuPone, who played Divine Witch Lilia Calder, delivered an incredible performance in this episode. For those who don't know, Patty LuPone is a highly talented actress with an impressive theater background, boasting 3 Tony Awards, 2 Olivier Awards, and even 2 Grammys. We're talking top-tier musical Broadway performer here. This 75-year-old actress proved her craft through her performance. The writing also deserves praise, as it teased Lilia's arc from the first episode and successfully brought it to fruition in this one. Now, let's talk about Lilia's nonlinear, tragic life. We are shown her journey from the time she sits before her teacher, who understands her powers and will soon explain everything about them to her. Lilia, however, was not experiencing time linearly like normal people, but instead lived her life in fragments, as she told Jen, who she later returned to in the present. What she experienced in her childhood repeated when Agatha invited her to join her coven. This didn't make sense to her until she saw her entire story. She's been living fearfully for a century, knowing that death is after her. Yet her teacher's explanation, that death comes for everyone, helped her realize that what matters is not controlling her powers but understanding them. In the end, Lilia fully understands this, just as we try to control our uncertain lives during childhood when we should be focused on living. That's why, like many, she only understands the meaning of her life at its end. In my opinion, this is one of the best Disney Plus episodes, one that won't be forgotten for a long time. At the episode's end, Lilia tells Agatha, "When she calls you a coward, just fall." I now understand that Lilia is hinting to Agatha about surviving her future encounter with Rio, i.e. death. You might wonder how Lilia sees the future if she's going to die. But Lilia is a divination witch. She can see people's futures, as she saw Billy's. Here, Lilia talks about Jennifer's future, which is interesting. The episode ends with a song so perfect it couldn't have been any better. Jim Croce's Time in a Bottle, famous for the iconic Quicksilver scene in X-Men Days of Future Past. This song perfectly defines the essence of this episode. Also, Rio is revealed as death. It unfolds that Rio, a character previously seen as just another ally or perhaps even an antagonist. So this was the breakdown of Episode 7 of Agatha All Along. And if you like this video, don't forget to like and share it, and subscribe to our channel for more contents. For Episode 6 breakdown, watch the video above. And to know the origin of Wiccan, watch the one below. I'll be back with a new video soon.